All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to just introduce our activity for today. This periodic table dissection activity. If you look in the instructions here, it tells us basically this is geared towards helping us get an understanding of the main groups on the periodic table. There are several of them that are named because the elements vertically have similarities, and then chunks of the table left to right called series, they have similarities as well. You'll need to use the textbook, or you can search main group element names on the web, but the pages in the book are page 138 and 139 in the online textbook. Make sure that you are doing your search to find the answers to the questions. Do your best. Make sure that you name group 1, so that's column 1, group 2, column 2. Groups 3 through 12 are all grouped together. So groups 3 to 12, they have a single name, and then groups 16, 17, and 18 have common names as well. Make sure you remember to name the 2 rows down below as well. Numbers 57 to 70 and 89 to 102. Your periodic table that you have printed out already should help you with those. They are named on that table. You're going to complete the activity before I see you next, and you can print off this blank periodic table, print this blank periodic table off, and do all of your work on that table. Please read the instructions carefully. Do not write the element symbols for every element in their corresponding box on the periodic table. That would be a huge waste of time. We are looking to write the names of groups down, not individual elements. We have a periodic table with all that information on it already. So just to give you an idea of how to start, I'm going to transition over here to my camera. All right. So the blank table, once you print it out, is going to look something like this. Here a little bit. They are already numbered, so groups 1 through 18 are already numbered. The first step says on the top of the periodic table attached, write the group numbers at the top, 1 through 18. Those are already done for you. Number 2, using the information provided on pages 138 and 139 of the online textbook, label the main groups. So this is where I was talking about. If we look at our periodic table of elements, we want to figure out this group of elements here, this first column, has a common name, a name that all of these elements together are referred to as. Same with group 2. It has a common name. Groups 3 through 12, this block, has a name altogether. And then groups 18, 17, and 16 have a name as well. At the bottom, just to give you an example of how we want to label these, since the names of lanthanides and actinides are given. The lanthanides are this row of elements, the actinides are this row of elements. What I'm looking for you to do is to just write down what the name of that group is. The lanthanides, and then down below are your actinides, okay? It says at the bottom of each group, at the bottom, the next thing it tells you to highlight your 7 semiconductors. So those are our metalloids. So you want to use your periodic table and identify which elements along the staircase are the metalloids. You may want to do step 5 first, which is to draw in your metalloid staircase. And then group 6 at the bottom of the staircase, it says to draw an arrow to the left and right of that staircase line to point out the direction of the metals and the nonmetals. And then you're also asked to write at the top of each group the oxidation number or the ion charge. So we talked about this a little bit earlier on, and we said that as far as metals that have fixed charges, the ones that don't need the Roman numerals, remember everything in group 1 has a +1 charge. So at the top of the group, write down the charge that every element in that group would have. Do the same for group 2. Groups 3 to 12, we'll come back and tackle that later on. Group 13 through 18, you need to figure out what the charges of those guys are going to be. You may have to look that up. You might have to search that on the old interwebs. And then don't forget that we also have silver that we know is always a +1. I would label that one in there. You have your cadmium, which is always a +2. You have your zinc, which is always a +2. Your aluminum, which is always a +3. Your boron, which is always a +3. And then the rest of those elements to the left, remember we said that they have multiple charges. So once you finish labeling your groups, the group names for group 1 and 2, your big block down here in the middle, 3 to 12, 18, 17, and 16, once you get those names written in those groups, highlight with some color or color in with a certain color the 7 elements that are your metalloids, your semiconductors. Draw in the metalloid staircase, label metals versus non-metals in reference to the metalloid staircase, put in your charges, and then on the back, I want you to define group, family, period, and series. Group, family, period, and series on the back. Once you finish that, please submit your work. If there's something that you have a question on, I'll be around for the entire period in the conference, as well as we will go over this together on Monday. So if there's something that you're unsure about, do your best to find the answer and turn it in. We will kind of finalize this and tweak it and fix anything that is incorrect on Monday. That's the first thing that we'll go over together. So you can go on to Unit 5 module and do the periodic table dissection activity now. It's due Monday at the beginning of the period.